Welcome to the Wild Crone Wisdom podcast with your host Vinutha Mohan. In this episode, through a symbolic story, we learn an important lesson on how to engage in righteous action while holding it lightly through a compassionate heart. Many years ago, I heard the story from the psychologist Wayne Dyer, a regular on PBS. A president of a country was visiting the prime minister of another. As the two leaders engaged in a serious discussion, a man stormed into the room and started yelling. The prime minister spoke sternly. "Johnson, remember rule number 6." Immediately, the man calmed down, apologized, and walked away. The president was stunned at how quickly the issue was resolved. They continued their serious discussion. A little while later, another woman stormed into the room and started screaming hysterically at the dignitaries. Once again, the prime minister spoke with authority. "Martha, remember rule number 6." As if by magic, Martha softened, smiled, and calmly left the conference room. Now the visiting president was truly intrigued. He couldn't contain his curiosity anymore. Before anything else could be said, he interrupted the prime minister. "I'm sorry, but I truly need to know what this rule number 6 is, which appears to have such a dramatic effect on your people. I cannot continue our conversation without knowing the secret." "Oh, that," replied the prime minister with a smile. "It says, don't take yourself so goddamn seriously." "Wow, I'm shocked at how effective it is," remarked the visiting president. "So, if this is rule number 6, then what are the other 5 rules?" he inquired curiously. "Oh, there are no other rules," chuckled the prime minister. "Although I first heard this charming story years ago, it has stayed with me, lightening my heart whenever life felt heavy. So many of my clients were amused by my story of the missing baggage in my previous episode, Lost and Found. Many thought I was quite courageous to be so vulnerable. Others felt that they could relate to me and shared similar experiences. Still others were relieved that they could take me off the pedestal that they had placed me on. Thank God. To all of them, I offer rule number 6 as the source of my freedom and courage. As the spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle wisely notes, beware of a teacher who appears overly serious. Perhaps this is the symbolism of the laughing Buddha. I remember many years ago, my grandmother presented me with a laughing Buddha statue. The pot-bellied big guy with a huge toothless grin plastered all over his face, and she said, "This will remind you to not forget to smile, no matter what life throws at you." It was the best and the sweetest gift ever. In today's world, where darkness can feel overwhelming, wars, inflation, racial injustice, climate change, it is essential to remember rule number 6. Yes, we need to be upstanders and perform our civic duties, stand up for social justice, work for the betterment of humanity, and do our best to save planet Earth. At the same time, it's equally vital to approach these causes with humility and mindfulness, resisting the urge to let our egos take center stage. As Wayne Dyer once said, there are no justified resentments. Many of us walk around these days with harsh judgments, shaming and blaming one another, viciously attacking and labeling the ones who may have a different perspective from us. We are quick to label them as the other and dehumanize them, using technology to spread vicious rumors, false information, and fear, all of which only sow the seeds of division and hatred. If there is one thing that the universe has taught us since the pandemic, it is that we are all one global family. And the only way to survive going forward is through cooperation, not competition, compassion, not condemnation, and resilience, not resistance. Rule number 6 reminds us to focus on right action rather than self righteous action. Let's ensure that our commitment to just causes doesn't become a sneaky way to inflate our egos. Eckhart Tolle warns that the most dangerous ego is the spiritual ego. It's a sneaky backdoor way of stroking your false self. He used to joke, saying that the so called spiritual person riding a bike and criticizing and condemning those driving gas guzzlers as environmentally irresponsible has a far bigger ego to tame than he might be aware of. With so much information coming at us, so much tracking of data, user preferences, targeted marketing, information manipulation, we need to be more vigilant than ever before to watch how we are reacting to the constant external stimuli coming at us. At those times, when you feel overwhelmed by life's challenges, imagine the laughing Buddha, his toothless grin, and pot belly reminding us to smile no matter what life throws our way. Pause, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, don't take yourself so goddamn seriously. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wild Crone Wisdom with your host Vinutha Mohan. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist from the Bay Area, California, specializing in trauma and attachment repair. I'm also a certified EMDR specialist and a certified shamanic practitioner. In this podcast series, we delve into the journey of our spiritual essence having a human experience. While many social scientists study human emotions, thoughts, and behaviors, and others explore transcendental experiences, few bridge the gap to help embody the spiritual wisdom in everyday life. I call this the psycho spiritual path. Through this podcast, I hope to share bite sized practical insights for navigating life as an empowered sovereign being. If you found this episode valuable, we'd greatly appreciate your support. Please consider rating, reviewing, commenting, and subscribing on your podcast platform to help us reach a wider audience. You can explore more of my writings on Medium by following the link in the show notes. We'd also love to hear about your experience, so feel free to share your thoughts with us at Wild Crone Wisdom Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you for being part of our journey. Please be advised the information provided in the Wild Crone Wisdom podcast is intended for general information purposes only. Vinutha Mohan is a licensed therapist and healer. However, the content shared in this podcast does not replace or constitute professional advice, therapy, or counseling. It is essential to consult with a qualified mental health professional for personalized guidance regarding your unique circumstances. Thank you.